small town.
Welcome back, Santa Clarita Valley. We're here on the Santa Clarita City Spotlight Show, where we talk about all things Santa Clarita. In the studio with me is Phil Lantis and Donna Evelo, and we were just talking about the themes and the thematic development. At a recent City Council meeting on Tuesday, actually, they were talking about a discussion of what, if any, guidance could be provided to the Arts Commission and whether that needs to take place. And that's going to be a discussion that's going to be happening in the next year. Maybe by 2014 there will be a study session, was my understanding. Just speaking briefly with Gail Ortiz, our city spokeswoman, about it. And wanted to talk to get your input, Donna, just as a resident and someone who's been living in the Valley. You said since 1978?
Yes.
Your family moved up here?
Yes.
So talk to me a little bit about what you see as the culture and the tradition from your time up here, more than 30 years of experience just living Santa Clarita. Where do you see that, and someone who's obviously involved in the arts culture?
Right. Well, obviously it has grown tremendously, but I see it as a beneficial thing. I love living in Santa Clarita, and when I think of what Santa Clarita is all about, I think of a great place to be able to raise your children. My children have been in all the school districts, and they've grown up here, and it's been a wonderful experience. And I also see it as not only a great place to raise your children, but also there's a variety of things. There's the arts, we have two wonderful theaters out here. We have a beautiful mall. There's so many things that we have here. We don't even need to leave Santa Clarita. We can stay right here every single day.
Right, we were just talking about that. And so it becomes a question of, do you want to use that thematic opportunity to celebrate what we have now, or our rich history? And it's kind of probably a balancing act that's put on you guys as members of the Arts and Entertainment and Events Office, right?
Right. Well, I love what Santa Clarita has done in the past. I love what we're doing now, and I see only great things in the future. So that's kind of a very wide answer of saying this is a great place for you to live now, but I see some great things happening in our future.
And do you feel like that might benefit the Arts Commission, or is that something, as far as guidance, is a cohesive theme something that reflects what Santa Clarita is? When you have such a hegemony, if you will, of so many different cultures and arts and that type of thing. Not to speak for the Commission or the Council, obviously, but just to kind of give your feedback as someone who's, obviously knows the arts.
Right. Well, it's hard to say that there's a particular type of theme because just like you said earlier, when you go to all Canyon Country, Saugus, Valencia, Newhall, they're all wonderful, and there is a little bit of a difference between each and every one of them. I see as Santa Clarita grows, I see the arts growing, and I see opportunities for us to be able to put art in all different locations for everyone to enjoy and appreciate.
Awesome. Good answer to a difficult question. And I want to ask you guys a little bit about the art exhibits as far as what's happening, what people can see around the city, Phil.
So this is another area that's really grown since the formation of the commission in end of 2009. We didn't have really any exhibit spaces at that point. And since then, we now are up to 7, basically. We're going to launch our 7th shortly. And what those are is the first floor gallery of City Hall, which was the first one that we opened. We had some pictures that had been up there for a while, and so we moved them upstairs, and we created a rotating exhibit space.
Was that are you talking about the student-produced work? Because we recently participated in the Congressional Art Contest with Fast Frames, and they did a great job of presenting those local pieces from students from all over the Santa Clarita Valley, even a few from the Antelope Valley, and they're now, if you haven't seen it, they're still on display on the first floor at the City Hall, right?
That is correct. There's actually 2 exhibits on the first floor right now. One is the Congressional Art Contest winners and finalists. And the second is our local photography association's spring print contest. So we have
cool.
2 going on at the same time.
Tell me a little bit about the photography competition.
Well, they do an annual event where basically the various members of the association submit works. It's not on a particular theme. It's called the Spring Photo Contest because it happens in spring, so it's not themed around spring necessarily.
Gotcha.
And the winners and finalists for that competition are also in the hallway and first floor of City Hall, which during regular business hours people can come in and look at the art, and it's a beautiful thing.
I'm sorry, is that for exposure, or is there a prize associated with the contest, or is it just for art's sake, as they say?
I think for the Photography Association, they give out awards, but there's not necessarily like cash prize, but it's bragging rights and an award.
Sure.
And then the Congressional Art Contest, of course, the winner from our region gets to be displayed in Washington D.C. So,
Right,
which
and
is a very cool
I
thing.
believe it was a two-time winner. She was a two-time participant and went to Washington D.C. To meet with Congressman McKeon and kind of look at where her art was in Congress,
Yeah.
getting displayed in the halls. That's pretty cool.
It's a wonderful program, and we're happy to be a part of it. And I know KHTS is as well, and obviously Buck McKeon's office leads that up. So, what a great thing to be able to have a high school student have their art in D.C. on
Yeah.
display. It's quite an honor.
Bragging rights, if you will.
Yeah, exactly. So our other exhibit spaces are at Westfield Valencia Town Center. We have one called the Art Space, which is right near the food court. It actually is going down today and won't be back up till the beginning of the new year, because during Christmas time they like to use that space for kiosks and stuff.
When
yeah.
you see a lot of Christmas
Right,
decorations
right.
and.
So, so you'll see that back in January, and then we have a thing called the community wall, which is upstairs above the carousel.
Tell me about that.
And
What's
it's a wall, and right now it has, I believe it's a photo exhibit of our community garden at Central Park, and so local photographers went out and took pictures of the community garden, and they're on display. And that's available when the mall's open to go check out.
Cool. We'll talk a little bit more about art exhibits and have our own George Cummings, a little tease for the Friday matinee that's coming up. He's going to come in here and talk about his experience with the arts in our community on the City of Santa Clarita Spotlight Show on KHTS AM 1220.